In a quiet town somewhere in North Carolina, an ordinary day at a local grocery store took an unexpected turn when a woman was arrested for stealing food. But then the cops saw her kids and did something surprising. Theresa West, a devoted 44-year-old mother, cherished her children and was determined to provide for her family, no matter the challenges. However, after a devastating incident turned her life upside down, making ends meet became a daily struggle. She worked tirelessly to support her children, refusing to give up despite the hardships. But Theresa's love and compassion extended beyond her own family. She also took on the responsibility of caring for two other girls, offering them a safe and loving home under her roof. Though they weren't her own children, Theresa's compassionate heart led her to open her home to the girls, providing them with a safe and loving environment. To support and feed her extended family, she made frequent trips to her local store. However, on one particular day, as she quietly filled her basket, a wave of nervousness washed over her. Something felt different this time. Each week was a relentless struggle for Theresa to scrape together enough money for food, but she couldn't bear the thought of her children going hungry. Desperation left her with no choice. She resorted to stealing. The store manager, noticing her uneasy demeanor as she moved through the aisles, sensed something was off. Though he wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt, he chose to keep a close eye on her. To his surprise, the woman suddenly picked up her pace, heading straight for the store's exit without stopping at the checkout counter. The manager's eyes widened as he realized that theft was taking place right before him. Knowing it was best not to confront the potential shoplifter directly, he carefully jotted down her license plate number and the details of her worn-out car as she hastily drove away. With the incident recorded on the store's security footage, the manager promptly contacted the local police. Senior Officer Corporal Keith Bradshaw and Officer First Class Candace Sprains swiftly arrived at the scene to assess the theft. Theresa West had managed to escape with various grocery items, including bread, pasta, sauce, and salad, totaling approximately 34. Armed with the license plate information, the officers set out to locate Theresa. She happened to live not far from the store. A short drive later, the officers arrived at her residence, ready to confront her about the crime. As the doors slowly creaked open, the officers were taken aback by what they saw. Instead of a suspicious-looking thief, they were greeted by a woman who seemed frightened, exhausted, and physically weak. Theresa, as she introduced herself, smiled weakly. The officers immediately questioned her about the incident at the store. With a heavy heart, Theresa admitted her guilt and expressed deep remorse for her actions. The officers dug deeper, trying to understand the reasons behind Theresa's desperate act. As she lowered her head out of shame, Theresa began to explain her circumstances. She kind of hung her head and told us what was going on and why, and that she was sorry. Bradshaw later recounted in an interview. She had been the sole provider for her family until a car accident left her with brain damage, making it impossible for her to work. On top of that, rheumatoid arthritis caused her immense pain, preventing her from performing her previous, physically demanding job. Since she could not work in her condition, Theresa had no means to support her children. She turned to desperate measures because her children hadn't eaten in 3 days, and they were starving. Corporal Bradshaw and Officer Sprains exchanged glances, their eyes reflecting a profound sadness. They recognized the honesty in Theresa's words, understanding that she had resorted to theft out of sheer desperation to take care of her 2 children and the 2 additional girls she had taken under her wing. The officers couldn't help notice the emptiness of the kitchen, where bare shelves and the lack of food were stark reminders of the desperation that had led to the shoplifting. Theresa's honesty and the goodness of her heart touched them deeply, but while they empathized with her plight, their hands were tied by the law, and they had no choice but to arrest her. If it wasn't for the store's policy and the manager's insistence, the officers surely would have let Theresa go, but in this case it wasn't up to them. However, their encounter with Theresa had left a profound impact on them. They recognized the desperation and love that had driven her to such extreme measures. Theresa was booked in and charged for her mistakes. and a court hearing was set. Anticipation and anxiety filled the air as the court date approached. Theresa had thought long and hard about her mistakes and what she could do to change her life after this. Finally, the court date came, and she entered with the hopes that the judge would hear her side of the story and give her mercy. The officers had long awaited this day too, where they could finally share their perspectives. In the serious setting of the courtroom, the officers stepped forward, ready to speak up for the woman who had resorted to theft to support her family. As they spoke, their voices resonated with sincerity and compassion, painting a vivid picture of the woman's circumstances and her good intentions. The judge, keen and compassionate, attentively listened to the officer's depiction of the woman's hardships. They portrayed her as a devoted mother, overwhelmed by the weight of her responsibilities and forced to take extreme measures out of pure love for her children. Through their testimony, the officers brought forth the woman's humanity. In light of the exceptional circumstances and the woman's inherent goodness, the judge made an extraordinary ruling. With a compassionate look, the judge dismissed all charges against her, recognizing her as a flawed but caring mother who had acted out of love and necessity. As the woman's face lit up with tears of relief, a heavy burden lifted off her shoulders. Gratitude overwhelmed her as she realized that there were people who saw beyond her mistake and understood her true character. But the officers' compassion didn't stop at their words. Deep in their hearts, Bradshaw and Sprains felt compelled to do something more. They couldn't bear the thought of Theresa's children going hungry any longer. They knew they had to step up and make a difference. They decided to go even further to help. They saw the suffering of her children and came up with a surprising plan. Off they went to a nearby Walmart, determined and focused. They moved through the aisles, selecting essential items, and filling up a shopping cart with groceries. After spending nearly $400 of their own money, the officers returned to the woman's home filled with excitement. Their eyes sparkled as they approached the door, knowing that their act of kindness would bring her renewed hope and relief. As the woman opened the door, she was amazed by what she saw. Her emotions surged, and she felt overwhelmed with gratitude and disbelief. The officers handed her the overflowing cart of groceries, showing their support and care. In that special moment, tears of joy streamed down the woman's face. She was immensely grateful. It was a powerful reminder that even in the hardest times, there are those who choose empathy and kindness. However, Bradshaw and Sprains knew that their support couldn't stop at just providing groceries. Recognizing that long-term assistance was essential for Theresa and her family to rebuild their lives, they connected her with social services to ensure she received the help she needed. They urged her to seek additional assistance and resources, ensuring she had the support needed to rebuild her life and care for her family. As the officers left Theresa's home, a deep sense of fulfillment washed over them. They had witnessed firsthand the profound impact of compassion and kindness in changing lives. In a world often clouded by judgment and indifference, they chose compassion. This story serves as a powerful reminder of the impact of empathy and the significance of even the simplest acts of kindness. It ignites hope in our hearts and inspires us to be agents of change, extending a helping hand to those who need it most. I'm really keen to know your thoughts on this story, so please don't hesitate to share your insights in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video and found it engaging, I invite you to subscribe to our channel for more similar content. Feel free to share this video. Take good care of yourselves, and I'm excited to connect with you in our future videos.